Greetings, everyone. It's your boy, the AntMAN here, and welcome to the chilling, spooktacular month. Yes, folks, all through October, we're going to look at what I consider the most chilling, spooky, and fun Halloween media. This includes horror movies, family movies, kids movies, etc. So to kick off this holiday, I'm going to start with the 1988 horror classic, Child's Play. This movie was directed by Tom Holland. No, not that one. There you go. It is the first installment of the Chucky franchise, and the first appearance of the killer doll himself. One night in Chicago, a detective named Mike Norris, played by Chris Sarandon, is chasing down a voodoo serial killer named Charles Lee Ray, played by Brad Dourif. His accomplice rides off without him, and the chase leads into a toy store. Charles is then shot by Mike and tries to find a way out by doing a voodoo ritual and transferring his soul into a good guy doll. The next morning, we're introduced to a boy named Andy Barkley, played by Alex Vincent. He turns 6 today and is really excited. His mother, Karen, played by Catherine Hicks, shows him the gift she wrapped up for him. He's upset though, since he doesn't have an actual good guy doll for the tools he has. Later at her job, she finds a peddler outside in the back who has a good guy, and she pays for it to surprise Andy. Once she picks him up from school, Andy is then greeted by his good guy, who's named Chucky. Of course, he's as happy as can be, and thanks his mother. That night, Karen has to work late, so she leaves her best friend Maggie to babysit Andy. After he's put to rest, Maggie is then murdered and falls out a window. Police then get the news and check out the place. Karen then meets Mike Norris, and she's heartbroken over Maggie's death. Andy then claims that Chucky is responsible for this, and as you can imagine, no one believes him. Even his mother thinks of it being a bunch of crap. Then Charles Lee Ray's partner ends up dead, and so on and so forth. Andy's a prime suspect and is quite in trouble. But it's only a matter of time before we find out the truth about that doll. Now, I must say, for this being one of my first horror movies, this is one that'll always stick with me till the end of time. The story of a killer doll has been done a few times before this movie, but here it brought a lot of originality and charm to it that makes it a somewhat psychological horror with slasher elements. I love the chemistry between Andy and his mom. They do seem like quite a pair. It makes you feel sympathy when you know this doll is making them feel distant and kinda splitting them apart. They seem like a mother and son who are always there to support each other and talk things out when the going gets tough. Mike Norris is pretty cool too. He feels pretty shaken up about the whole thing with shooting down Charles Lee Ray and technically killing him, or so he thought. Chucky himself is easily the best part of the movie. Then again, he always is in every film for obvious reasons. I mean, it is his franchise. For real though, I cannot say enough just how much Brad Dourif owned this part. His charisma and energy are one of the few things that make Chucky such an icon in horror. Back then when this movie first came out, and even to this day, the animatronic effects on Chucky look pretty damn good. Not to mention that, I think the death scenes are pretty well staged. And since this is an older horror movie, of course there is not really much blood or gore. At least not to the extent of modern horror movies. Though for what they are, these are pretty cool kills. I really love the build-up and tension for Maggie's death scene. I love how Chucky for the most part is kept in the shadows and isn't revealed fully just yet. Because if there's one thing I have to give credit for in this movie, especially for first-timers who have not seen this before, Just the idea of seeing what Chucky would look like when we saw him come to life makes up for a pretty damn good mystery, I must say. I won't go much into details about the other deaths, but if you're a first-timer who have not seen this movie before, trust me, I think you would want to be surprised. The actors all do a good job too. As I've stated before, Catherine Hicks and Alex Vincent really do bring off a lot of chemistry as Andy and Karen. Chris Sarandon as Mike Norris and the guy who plays his partner are also pretty good. Between the performances and the mystery of Chucky coming to life, this whole movie is underrated. No joke. The storytelling is really well done, the actors all given some memorable performances, especially Brad Dourif. In short, Child's Play is one of the most underrated slashers in both horror and movies in general. If you're a newcomer who wants to get into some Chucky, please, I highly recommend it. I give Child's Play a 10 out of 10. But trust me when I say this, ladies and gents, this good guy doll's reign of terror doesn't end here. In fact, it's just beginning. Next time, we're going to see how he tracks down poor little Andy at his new foster home. Until then, y'all, this is your boy the Ant-Man signing off. Deuces!